Hey, I'm Sean Canary with Kuno Creative, and I am here to tell you all about creating HubSpot custom events using their tool set. Really excited about this. Why would you ever need HubSpot custom events? Well, any type of a web property that you own, whether it's a website, whether it's your app, you can add these custom events and track how your contacts are using your website. Then you can upload those contacts and how they use your website into Stack Adapt programmatic campaigns. You can do things like dynamic retargeting, you can do things like ABM targeting, and you can layer in third-party data on top of it. So it's a really cool tool set to use, but there are some tricks of the trade that you need to know. That's why I created this video. So let's jump into it. All right, let's get started with the HubSpot custom events tool. Now, depending on what type of subscription you have for the Marketing Hub for HubSpot will determine the type of custom events that you can create. So let's just go through the custom events. So if we go to your HubSpot menu on the left-hand side and click the data management icon, which is the 4 round cylinders stacked on top of each other, you'll see data management, and then you'll be able to see custom events. From here, you'll be able to create on a custom event. Let's talk about the custom events that you do have available to you. We'll go over the visualizer, which is perhaps the coolest tool out there, the HubSpot custom event visualizer. However, you'll notice a lock on those accounts, those marketing hubs that are not enterprise related. Enterprise only has access to the HubSpot visualizer custom event tool. However, you still have a couple of powerful ways to create custom events, and we'll get to those here in a second. So let's just imagine now that you do in fact have the visualizer. So once you do click on the visualizer, it's going to open a prompt for you to type in the website and launch the visualizer. Now, let's say that we want to create a custom event, right? Now, some ideas for a custom event. I'm going to open up the Kuno Creative website here. And as you can see, we have our Kuno Creative website. And this is going to talk about our SEM and PPC services that we have. Now, custom events are great for measuring which one of your contacts maybe engages with a case study, maybe a play button on a video, or right here we have this average monthly media spend to kind of figure out what our pricing would be for our prospects. So from a lead, from creating a smart retargeting campaign or a smart ad campaign, I think a custom event that measures the contacts that end up using the calculate button would be smart. Then we can use those contacts in a list and then send them over to Stack Adapt to do programmatic ads. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go back to the visualizer, and we're going to put in the URL for that page. Once we're going to hit done, very much like HubSpot CMS, you're going to notice that it's going to open up the page, but also be in a HubSpot window. From here, it's going to say, "Hey, give us the event information." So I want to say that this event name is used calculate feature or button on SEM page, right? That's what I'm going to name my event. Now, I could add an optional description that gives me a little bit more. Contacts who have clicked on the calculate button to figure out the estimated cost of Kuno PPC SEM management services. That way, when somebody's looking at this, they can realize exactly what that event name means. Now, the data to track: visited URLs and clicked element. Obviously, we're going to want clicked element, but let's talk about visited URLs for a second, because I think the visualizer has a leg up on a Google Tag Manager or other ways to retarget based off of that. Now, you're probably saying to me, or you're probably saying to yourself, I don't need the data of a custom event created to measure the people that visit a specific URL. I can just use a tag, or I can just use a pixel and create an audience right from there. Now, you're absolutely correct. But what the real benefit of doing it with custom events is, it is sort of, you can create what's called wildcards, or you can create what's called contains. So let's say that you want to retarget with a programmatic stack adapt ad everybody that's read a blog article on your website. There's no real easy way to go in and add a tag to all your blog pages, add a pixel to all your blog pages, right? It's more for individual pages. Here, you'll be able to create a wildcard as far as people that have visited maybe a group of product pages, a group of content pages, maybe a group of machine pages if you're an industrial manufacturer. So really, that's what the power of this tool will give you, is that you can create visited URLs in groups as opposed to individual pages. Now let's get back to the item at hand, which is to create an event around this button being clicked. We're going to simply click on the clicked element, because this is a clickable button. We're going to hit next. Right? Now, this is where we're going to see the power come in, and we're going to click on this little bullseye symbol, right? And we're going to and you'll notice when you hover over, it's going to give you the ability to mark any areas on this page, and we specifically want to mark that calculate button. This is where the beauty comes in, because it automatically puts in the information about that button for you, right? So now you'll be able to track everybody that's clicked on that calculate button. There's a couple different features that you can do. Maybe this calculator is on several different pages, and you can track all your web pages within that have the HubSpot tracking script on it. You can track all of them that is on that domain, so they don't even need to have the tracking script on it. Or in this case, we really want to just measure this page. The tracking name of this is calculate button clicks. I'm going to name it a specific tracking name. So from here, you're going to go ahead and hit next, and you're going to see that it has created a tracking name. It's tracking on that page, and it is specifically tracking on that button, that specific button that is being clicked upon. And all you're going to do is hit done, and you're going to be able to view the event right within there. And you'll notice the overview as contacts come in, they're going to go ahead and click on that event. Pretty cool feature within HubSpot. All right, so now that we have that set, let's go back to the other options and talk about when we would pull those out. Let's say that you only have a HubSpot Professional Marketing Hub and you don't have access to this visualizer tool. Well, that's completely okay. You can still use custom events. You just have to use it a little bit differently. There's two other ways that I will talk about specifically that require a little bit less effort on your part to create a custom event. The first one I'm going to talk about is the import feature. The import feature allows you to create a HubSpot event around a specific offline activity or any activity. Maybe you export everybody that's called in, or maybe that you have a trade show that you want to import everybody that stopped in your booth. What the power of this is, it'll allow you to create an event that contacts have interacted with. For instance, Some things may be, maybe, like I said, a trade show visit. Maybe you have a list of everybody that stopped by your trade show. Maybe direct mail responses, all your contacts that have responded to a direct mail. Maybe phone calls. Maybe you have a calling system that you can go ahead and import all the times that you made phone calls to them and they've answered. The great thing about custom events is that it appears in the timeline as a dated activity. So what you can do from there is you can trigger workflows. You can actually send data to platforms such as StackAdapt, programmatic ads, and you can also trigger, event workflows. You can trigger reporting. You can do all sorts of stuff with that. So after you hit the import feature, we'll go back to import spreadsheet. You're going to name this. I'm going to name this trade show booth visits. Contacts who have visited the booth. Now the key is to be as specific as possible with this. So we're going to say Baltimore show, right? At the Baltimore show, because that would be really important as far as being able to isolate not only that somebody's been by your trade show booth, but at what location, or maybe they called in. Next, you're going to hit next, and you're going to update a file. Now, it's really important. You're going to choose a file, and the file is basically going to be the contact email address, the contact, maybe it's the contact record ID, and then also the timestamp or date of when that activity happened. So it's really easy. You can use email, first name, last name, and then the date that they stopped by their email address. You can be just a generic date, or it could be a full-time date stamp with hours and minutes. I definitely recommend to put an hour to it because, again, maybe it's a part of a elaborate list as far as like show me everybody that stopped by my trade show booth, but then also went to my website and filled out a form. You'll want to have that timestamp so that that you can put that sequence in proper order. After you go ahead and upload that file, it's going to be simply create and update contacts, and then create new custom event completions only. You'll hit next and import. So that is the ability to import individual events. The next way to do events is using JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is a little bit more complex and you may need some developer help, but it is not as bad as people think. Now, again, what this feature does is it actually appends your HubSpot tracking script that's on every page of your website. So it adds in some tracking details to grab more data and pass it through HubSpot. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Let's say that this is maybe clicked on HTML link for brochure on machine, right? We're going to go ahead and click next. And what you're going to be able to do is create individual properties, right? And pass those properties through. So by default, it's going to automatically track 32 properties, and you can click on the event properties, and it's going to automatically track. Some of those default properties include scroll. Some of those include basic clicks, button clicks, things like that. But what is cool is that you can actually customize the properties that end up being tracked. So from here, we can create a custom property for it to track. So maybe we have a property name. Maybe we create a property name called, click on brochure button. and it will actually create the custom property within your events to track. And it will actually put in the click on brochure string in that model. Maybe it's a custom number property instead of a text property. Maybe it's a timestamp. You would use timestamp. Maybe you want to track when contacts click on a certain button or perform a certain action. That's when you would use timestamp property instead of a number or a text field. Or you can create an enumeration. You can create multiple values and separate them with a semicolon and track a number of different options there. So it's really flexible. But again, the drawback is that you do have to have some coding. So let's say we're tracking that Ahref click on that brochure. We've added that custom string property from here. Next, what we're going to do is this is going to amend your actual information with JavaScript, right? Now from here, you'll have to add in the JavaScript code where it says null. You'll have to actually add the code right from to here for this to properly track the number of clicks on that specific brochure. So you'll have to amend the code to add the href linking. So it is a little bit complicated. You'll have to get possibly your development team to work on this with you, but it's extremely powerful. And you can use things like maybe maybe you've embedded a YouTube video on your website. You can actually put in JavaScripting so you can see things like how many times somebody has pressed play, or maybe how many times they've watched the entire video. So it's very powerful. It's a little bit complicated to create JavaScript, but it is also very powerful. And some suggestions with JavaScripting, if you don't have a development team available to you, HubSpot does have a developer support pipeline. And then also to Reddit and other online chats, you may be able to help write some script. The last thing I would suggest to do is actually use AI to help you generate some of the code. Now you'll need that code to be verified that it works, but I always start off with creating JavaScript in ChatGPT. I explain the properties that I want to measure, and then it actually writes the actual JavaScripting for me that I add into this, and then I verify and test it and make sure that it works properly. So that is another option as well. The last two events that I'm going to talk about here are custom APIs as well as webhooks. Now, custom APIs is when you may have to get in your developers. So what it will do is you can actually track activity through the HubSpot API and add activity to your timelines as people interact with maybe individual software that's connected to your contacts accounts. Maybe it's an app that is also available for your contacts. And then also too, those third-party applications that have webhooks available for you to program, you can actually use webhooks where HubSpot will provide you the actual webhook to put into the third-party application's webhook setting pages. So maybe it's an approved HubSpot integration app that's in the marketplace, and it has the ability to program in a webhook. All you have to do is grab this webhook URL and paste it into the third-party integration app, and it will pass the data back and forth. So it's really cool. But again, and you can test it right here. But again, you'll have to use an app that has the ability to set webhooks. But once you do, data from those third-party apps will flow back into HubSpot as an individual a web activity or a custom event. So once you do have the custom event, how do you get this information into StackAdapt for programmatic ads? Well, that's the next step, where we're going to create what we call lists, right? You know, lists, just like your normal marketing lists. And what you're going to do is go to your CRM, go down to lists, or where you keep your list. Maybe you keep it in the bookmarks, right? You're going to go into list, and you're going to go ahead and hit create list. And from here, you're going to go ahead and hit next, make sure that it is in the proper object, which is contact in our case. And we're going to go ahead and add a filter. And as you can see from add a filter, our custom events are located on here. So what we can do is say, hey, how many times did they use the calculate button on the HubSpot page? So anybody that's gone to here and said, okay, I have a monthly budget of $45,000. I'm gonna go ahead and calculate. Okay, Kuno's management fee is $7,800, right? Now, anytime somebody clicks on it, any one of your contacts that clicks on it, it's going to be able to has completed that action, and they're going to show up in this list. So we're going to name this list custom event list, and we're going to call this calculate button. And we're going to go ahead and hit review and save. Save process and right. So now it's going to create a list of all your contacts that have completed that custom event. And again, that custom event is going to keep track of all your contacts that click on that button. And you'll start seeing data flow directly into this after a few hours. So that is how you use custom events in HubSpot, whether you have enterprise and you have the visualizer available to you, or maybe you use just the code, you code some JavaScript, or you use the install feature as far as the individual custom event. Maybe you import, maybe use JavaScript. If you have enterprise, you can use the visualization tool, which is super cool to use, or maybe you work with development to set up webhooks or send via events via API into your HubSpot portal.